Hey, is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horses.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here on Horses Sing None of It, ladies and gentlemen, and my name is Ralph Litwin, and you've just been listening. Actually, if you were reacting as I was, you have just been transported to some long ago age in the bucolic hills of England somewhere in blue skies and out in the fields there in the rolling hills. You have been transported thusly by the Prose from Dover,
All puns intended.
which, which is also known as Gene Farnworth on the harp and Stephen Fuld on the recorder. Welcome to the show. Nice
Thank
to
you.
have you both here. That beautiful music.
Thanks.
And you were telling us before, when I heard the name Prose from Dover, which is coincidental because we tape in Dover, New Jersey, I naturally assumed that it referred to like the White Cliffs of Dover or something like that. But then you told the story.
You see, we actually named the group for for the location of the studio. Well, actually, the name The Prose from Dover was a funny reference to the old movie version of MASH. Gene and I were playing a Renaissance fair at one point, and the circumstances were such that we were following an act that was causing us to wince a little bit. And there's a scene in MASH when Elliot Gould and Donald Sutherland come flying into a hospital in Tokyo wearing Hawaiian shirts and carrying golf bags, and they're there to perform surgery on a congressman's son. And the nurses are all in an uproar. They don't know who these people are, or what to do with them. They say, "Who are you guys?" And Trapper John McIntyre replies, "We're the Prose from Dover, ma'am. We're here to crack this kid's chest and be on the golf course by 2." So it
really stuck after we had to fill in for a couple of no-shows who had gotten a flat tire and run into terrible car trouble and couldn't show up in time to do their slide. "Can you do 2 hours extra?" "Oh, sure." "We're the Prose from Dover. We can handle anything."
Now that's got me thinking. Is that like some literary reference that they included in that show from somewhere else, or do we know the answer to that question?
Don't know the answer to that yet. I've wondered the same thing.
We're still researching the matter.
Right.
Right.
Right. We did take the liberty of spelling prose Prose instead of Pros, like professionals. So we get the little double
yes, I
entendre
see
of
now.
prose and poetry.
Excellent. You're playing, I guess you call this Renaissance music?
Well, actually, what you just heard is Neo-Celtic. That was an original composition of Gene's. Something that a pair of tunes that she wrote for a pair of friends who were subsequently married. So it's in the style of the Planksties and Pavans, but it's actually
borrows from the Renaissance and borrows from medieval music. Medieval music to the modern ear is not as sonorous as one might want. Some of the chord intervals sound strange. There's a lot of things in open fifths or open fourths, and a lot of odd juxtapositions of notes, a lot of passing seconds and musical things that some modern ears might not appreciate. But you can borrow some of the timing and some of the structures and take it one step further in the interest of creative anachronism, as opposed to compulsory authenticity.
Creative anachronism, yes, I like that. Well, why don't you give us another one?
Well, one of the things we do is we do belong to the Society for Creative Anachronism, where we are often put in the position of needing to write some tune for someone for some special purpose. And this is called Planksty Sir Anaron, which is written for the alter ego and the SCA name of an individual that we're very fond of.
Yes. All right. Well, we should tell folks how they can get in touch with you in case they'd like to have some of this kind of music at some festival, event, or
We do events.
events of all kinds.
All
This
kinds.
We do
sounds like
wind-
it would be perfect for a wedding
We do
ceremony.
wind up doing a lot of
those,
weddings.
I bet you do. And so, in your announcer voice, one of you tell them the right number to call.
The number, please. Area code 908-889-1968 to reach the Prose from Dover, and Gene Farnworth is the person you'll be reaching, but reach one of us. You've reached both of us.
And we're holding up the tape now, in case you're wondering what I'm doing. So they can also call that number to get information about your recording, Gene.
Both of those pieces that I've played for you so far are on that tape that you hold in your hands, and Steve and I are writing together now, and we'll have something in the works eventually. There
New
are
tape to
other
come.
selections available, and I'll talk your ear off if you don't stop me.
Okay. Maybe you could share how you got into this kind of music. It's not something you hear on the radio every day, I can say that for certain.
It's unfortunate, but true. I guess the instrument created the music. In my case, I've been playing guitar for 30 years, and so I was just enamored of the sound. And then Stephen and I met in the context of one of these Renaissance festivals, and he started jamming and playing along, and I love the sound of the low recorders and the harp together.
See, my background is different. I'm an ex-symphonic bassoon player.
Wow.
And saxophone and clarinet, and I'd been interested in early music for many, many years. Recorders, I should have a T-shirt made up that says recorders. They're not just for school children anymore. But I had been, I'd been playing classical music for many years and interested in not just the music, but the history and culture, and the Middle Ages and Renaissance have been a source of fascination for me for a long time. So, having been fond of 12-string guitars for many, many years, when I met Jean and found that she was a very accomplished 12-string player, as well as a very fine Celtic harper, it was just an opportunity to take the early music out of the privacy of my living room and start doing it in some public context. I'm stuck with the old woodwind player's conundrum. I can't accompany my own singing, and playing instruments that play only one note at a time, they're not really well suited to being played solo unaccompanied. They tend to get boring after a while. So I met someone who could play chords. And well, there was much more to it than that. I don't mean to to make it sound like that's all there was to it, but
I'm very much a chord junkie, and you could probably tell from my harping style is a little bit different than other harpers or harpists. Most people who play this instrument look upon it as a melody instrument with just a few notes to hit in between, and I just take the biggest arpeggios I can because I love them so much. So I think I'm a left-handed harper as opposed to somebody who plays a melody-heavy sort of a style. I play a chord-heavy style.
Yes. I don't know what you have planned next on your program. You were rehearsing a song with some singing in it, is that next on your program?
Right. We are also enamored, as well as medieval, Renaissance, and original music. We also love Irish music very much, and this is an Irish standard about the old love song where the man meets the ideal woman from afar at a county fair. It's called "The Star of the County Down," and we take turns singing this one. We do this a lot. Stephen will sing a verse and I'll sing the chorus, or vice versa. And it's pleasant to have lyric bass. Since I'm a contralto, my voice is lower than most women's. It's fun to have someone that can always sing lower than I can. If you sing with the tenor, we're fighting over the same octave sometimes. This has been a joy for me, and we enjoy this one.
Town in the county down, one morning last July, down a bowling green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the crown of her nut brown hair. Such a winsome elf, I was ashamed of myself, for to see I was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, there's no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. Sped, sure I scratched my head, and I looked with a feeling rare. And I says I to a passer-by, who's that maid with the nut brown hair? He looked at me and he smiled at me. That's the gem of Ireland's crown. That's young Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bann. She's the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, there's no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. Sunday clothes, with me shoes shine bright, and me hat cocked right, for a smile from the nut brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke, no horse I'll yoke, till me plough is a rust-colored brown, until smiling bright by my own fire star of the county down.
From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town. There's no maid I've seen like the brown colleen that I met in the county down.
From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town. There's no maid I've seen like the brown colleen that I met in the county
That is so beautiful. I love that song.
I do too.
Nicely done. Nicely
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you.
Such a love song that any woman would love to have a song like that written about her, wouldn't she?
It's very funny. I had one of those shopping mall jobs once, and a woman stood in rapt attention while I sung that, and then afterwards she shook my hand and said, "Hi, I'm pleased to meet you. My name's Rosie McCann." Wonderful things happen sometimes. That was great. And she happened to be Irish, and if you're Irish, they always say what county you're from as opposed to what town you're from, because the towns are so tiny. So she happened to be from, I think she was from County Cork instead of County Down, but that's all right. It took me a while to realize that County Down is like Union County or any other, it's a county name.
But it's a bona fide place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that it was referring like to a square or something in the county, you know, the county square. Or something like
Right,
that.
right.
But that's the name of the county. See,
I had
little
thought it was
I
a
know about
lowland as
Ireland.
opposed to an upland county, or county down, or county up, you know. I didn't know, but I found out eventually. It made it that much more charming to realize it was an actual place. And the county fairs were, and still are, a large part of the Irish culture. I can't wait to go. I haven't been yet. Aer Lingus says they're going to fly this as a passenger, so it's a possibility someday.
Yes. Well, one of my friends is Jim Hennessy from Hennessy's bar in Morristown, Hennessy's Washington Bar. And he's Irishman through and through. We have planned more than we have time for. We have about 3 minutes left, so we can pick one of two selections that we had planned.
Well, why don't you sing one?
Alrighty, I will then.
I get my keys with sharping levers, so in order to get in the key of people's key of D,
And
we sharp Fs.
with apologies to Mr. Hennessy, because last time I sang this, he corrected me on some particular phrase. I took this from a record I have of Tommy Makem, and apparently I got some pronunciation incorrect, and it's still going to be incorrect because I don't remember what the correction made was.
It's the folk process.
I am a little beggarman, a beggarman I've been for 60 or more on the little Isle of Green. Known from the Liffey down to Seguin, and I'm known by the name of old Johnny Doo. Of all the trades of going, begging is the best, for when a man is tired he can lay down and rest. Out for a penny if there's old Hick-a-Doo, and it's old Johnny Doo and the Rick-a-Doo. Through the night, and we said nighty man. Holes in the roof and the rain leak leaking through, and the cats and the rats, they was playing peekaboo. When who should awaken but a woman of the house in a white spotty apron and a calico blouse. I start to frighten and don't says do. Now don't be afraid, Mom, it's only Johnny Doo. It's over the road with me pack on me back, over the road with me great heavy sack. Holes in the roof and the rain leaking through, and the rats and the cats, they were playing peekaboo. Who should awaken but the woman of the house with a white spotty apron and a calico blouse. She start to frighten and I says boo. Now don't